It's showtime.
We're live.
We're live. Welcome everybody to Keep On Collecting live stream. Today we have a man who pretty much needs no introduction. Everyone seems to know Scuba Pete. but for our, I guess there is a bunch of people out in here, Australia, who probably aren't so familiar with your scuba, but you can be found on Chasing 80s Toys channel.
Yep.
You are everywhere. Like I remember going into live streams with Analog Toys, Retro Blasting, you're there. Going over to USR or ZSR now, and you're there. You know, Salacious, you're there. Like, you're everywhere. I'm like, who's this Scuba Pete?
He just pops up like a bad rash.
Yeah, I thought you were like the gatekeeper of everything. I'm like, oh, I've got to be where. And then like I seen Scuba Pete, and I went, oh, he's just a regular dude like us. This is
a
cool.
Regular Joe. But yeah, I mod for, I don't know. Somebody joked the other day, like, hey, I'm thinking about starting my channel, which means you'll be a moderator.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'll be in your chat. So if you want to bestow the wrench, that's fine.
So welcome, Scuba. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. How you been? How you recovering from the celebrations, Star Wars celebrations?
Yeah, my body still thinks it's 5 hours ahead. So
still recovering.
Yeah, still. It wasn't bad going over, even though we were up for like, it felt like 36 hours straight, something crazy like that. But yes, because of a 8.5-hour delay, and I did not sleep on the plane. I watched 4 movies. You know, it was like, oh, and we're in London. Cool.
Yeah.
You know, VTR Dave and Camilla, they picked us up at the airport and hosted us for a couple days. And so we got to their house and they had a little brekkie for us. Yeah. And they were like, we're just going to have a chill day because we figure you guys have been going. And we're like, uh-huh. And they're like, could we have a couple hours of sleep? And they were like, not a problem. We got up super early to get you at the airport. So we're like, the whole house, we napped. So it was great. Everybody just...
Let Scuba and Leslie just pass out.
Yeah. Like a couple hours and then we can go from there. But yeah, big time. So yeah, very slowly getting used to it. Honestly, I fell in love with the cuisine of England, and so that's where I've just got DTs, steak and ale pie, fish and chips. You know, the size of, like a fish like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
that's almost so American good in size.
It's bigger. Like, that's not like, I can't go down to the local takeaway and get fish and chips that look like that. I mean, they'll be like,
yeah, well, the English just live on fish and chips.
Oh, it's so good. So fresh. You know, it was just swimming the day before, and I'm like, I'm down with this.
I'll just get into the chat. Just there's a bunch of people in there that want to say hello, so we'll get in there. And before we continue on, we've got Zazel from Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse. How you going? Thanks for joining.
G'day.
The G-Force. G'day, G-Force. G. Oh, we got Mrs. Scuba Pete.
Uh-oh.
Behave.
Don't say any prices. Don't say any prices.
Right? Yeah. I got this for free. And she'll be like, I call BS.
It was on special. That's
Andrew the cute. It's on special. $2.
I traded.
Magna Fangdango. How you going?
G'day, Si. Thanks for joining us.
Simon.
Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. We've got Retro Oz Gamer. He's all the way over in Western Australia. And we've got Jewel.
Hey, Jewel.
Yeah. Jewel, thanks for joining, Jewel. There you go.
Goatee.
Yeah, never heard of him.
Right? I know. He went that way.
Him up from just grabbed this guy off the street, said, oh, you look like you've got a face to the camera. Get on here.
Actually, Scooby, we were watching some celebrations last night on a channel called Scott's Retro Collectibles.
Yeah.
And were you in the first day of that?
Yes.
Was the crowd... We just saw the crowd. It just looked like this massive sea of people, all sort of corralled. And
so the way the Excel's set up, you have this giant long hallway that feels like it goes for a couple miles. And on that central hallway, they've got places to grab a drink or a snack or a little takeaway.
Yep.
And then they've got seating in the middle. There's like coffee shop and a bar. Most importantly, a bar in the middle. And yeah, there was a couple times that day, and I think people took it upon themselves to be like, "Look at the crowds."
Yeah, just
from that one particular perspective.
Yeah,
it looked like. And granted, it took me probably 20 minutes to move 50 feet in the afternoon just through that, because you had like people trying to get food, and then you had the seat. So everything was crunched down, but you learn the bypasses and like that's a choke point. So don't go there, cut through here.
Yeah.
And zinging back and forth across that central hallway, easy peasy. It was busy, but.
So they had some big halls. How many halls did they have?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there was 7 halls. Yeah. Now some of those halls were like, this one has food trucks and a place to like sit and rest your dogs and grab a Mr. Whippy, which is also a new addiction of ice cream.
Yeah, we have Mr. Whippy down here. We have the Mr. Whippy trucks, yeah.
Oh, God love you. Yeah, they had a Mr. Whippy truck, and I was with Cy, and all of a sudden I'm 8 years old, and I'm like, can we please? And he's like, all right, you've been good. And I'm like, cool. And it was.
It looks like the crowd. What we noticed is it looked like the crowd sort of like spread out, and it wasn't that crowded when you walked around. So
it definitely spread out more. A lot of people were saying Saturday was completely sold out, and maybe it was, but Friday was just the gusher, packed day. Saturday was a little easier. Sunday, Easter Sunday, we begged off and kind of did the London tourist thing because it was so nice out and sunny and a breeze. And then Cy and I went back Monday, and it was wide open. You could go anywhere you wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, super easy. Yep. And tons of vintage toys, because I know do you guys like toys?
No, I hate them.
Oh, all right. Well, gotta go. Thanks for having me.
We picked the wrong guy off the street. What are we doing?
Son of a. Way more vintage toys than you would have expected. At least I did. I was talking to Joe from Lester Vintage Toys earlier in the week, and he was like, I really don't know how much vintage stuff's going to be there. I know we're bringing that, and Billy Galaxy that they shared a booth with, he was, but there were pleasantly surprised. Lots of different booths with, anything from really cheap, Empire Strikes Back coloring book or what have you to, would you like a graded vinyl Cape Jawa for 4,000 pound? And everything in between.
You said, of course.
Of course. Yeah, I'll take 2. And Leslie's like,
that's another thing. We did see on there there was a lot of vintage toys. What about the pricing compared to the US?
Compared to the US, I think I was concerned that it was going to be severely inflated because it was Celebration. Hey, Taylor. But it wasn't as bad as what I expected. There was a lot of things that you went, no, that's pretty much a fair going rate price. I picked up a Palatoy Death Star that was mostly complete for a very fair price. That if it was in the States, it would have been 3 to 4 times the amount that I paid.
Okay. Sure.
Wow. And had you transported that back okay?
Oh, yeah, because my giant check bag going over had toys in it for friends because, we were meeting up with everybody. So I'm like, here's that. Sorry, I never shipped this to you last summer, Luke Reynolds. Here's your C-3PO figure case that I said I would find for you. So I was making room, but then I was gifted toys in return. Like Stu, Universal Toy Collector, hit me up with the Cosmic Cruiser.
Nice.
Luke Reynolds gave me Boulder freaking Mountain
What?
Oh wow!
Yes.
Very masculine.
No way.
We had a really nice lunch.
Yeah.
That the lovely Rachel prepared, and he was like, we were coming in off the train. We were a little hungry, and it was noon. So as he said, she fixed a little bit, and there was like 5 feet of sandwiches and like sausage rolls and egg sandwiches all cut on the triangles. I felt like I was at a catered event.
Yeah.
And we're like, we could definitely eat. And I mean, we all just laid into that and just, well, then when we got done eating, I'm like, here's your toys. And he's like, oh, I got something for you. He goes into the other room and brings in Boulder Hill complete. Wha-pow! And I'm like, what? And he goes, you don't have it yet, do you? And I was like, no. And I'm like, this is incredible. I'm like, this is amazing. So I took the base plate home. He's going to send the mountain over because I was like, that's a little tall to be fitting in the luggage, but we made it work. Leslie's an expert packer.
Yeah. those Reynolds, they know how to cater, don't they?
They do. Yeah, just crazy good.
G'day, Peter.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, Peter.
Still people popping in. Hey, g'day, Sis.
TJC. Oh, Scott Crusher. I just saw it. I'm watching.
Is he down? I've got to keep. I'm way behind.
Man,
we got Monique. We got Phil. Treasures for Trigger.
Phil.
And, g'day. I'm still trying to scroll. I'm a terrible moderator, aren't I, guys? Well, I'm listening to you, Scuba, so I'm like trying to There he is.
So Scuba, what'd you come away with from the from Celebration? What'd you buy there?
So I already talked about this, but
prepared.
I can't.
You got that.
Yeah, that baby. And so I gifted Stu a Kenner battle damaged X-Wing, and then promptly found myself the Palatoy damaged X-Wing to bring home with the sticker and the chrome R2. It does have the guns. I just haven't unpacked those yet.
It looks like it's in good condition too.
Yeah, really good. I got that for 40 quid.
Wow.
And that's not even making up a price because Leslie's on. So yeah, I couldn't pass it up. I'm like, I guess because I was looking for very Palatoy specific things, that there was a lot of that.
Because usually, like in Australia, the English had the Palatoy. They made the Star Wars, and in Australia we had Toll Toys.
Yes.
Yeah, and so they made like the Land Speeder and things like that under license, and to get a Land Speeder in the box with Toll Toys on it, big money.
Yeah.
So because the company doesn't exist, like Palatoy, they're gone. So and I remember the one I had as a kid was a Toll Toys one, but it's probably about 20 feet under in landfill now somewhere with houses on top. Most toys when we were kids.
I had the Kenner version, and many years later, after playing, all the neighborhood kids, we all played together. But several years later, like when we had gotten a little too old for toys, but we were old enough to go play war, and get guns and run around the neighborhood like idiots. Friend of mine, his dad was tilling up their garden, and I had lost my land speeder. Up pops my land speeder in pieces. And so we're running through his backyard, and there's his dad tilling, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the? And I'm like, I went and grabbed it, and I looked at Terry, and he was like, he had buried it years ago.
That's a good segue, Scuba. Through. My brother had he bought a house to rent out and to lease out, and he was digging in the garden cleaning it up, and he found, just if I can slid this over, this Star Wars figure that popped up, and it was Admiral Akbar. But have a look at I can't get anyone to find if it's a variant or not. But have a look at the
spectacles on.
Yeah. See, he's got the black markings on it.
Yeah.
And see I thought it was like a kid. Someone had done done like got a marker and marked on it.
Yeah,
but it actually looks. It's even man will tell you. It's got actually factory paint on it. So even the vest is a different color. So we don't know. We don't know if it's a like a variant or a sort of like a prototype.
Yeah,
because there were some prototypes that did get out in Australia too because of Toll Toys. So we're not sure if because it's just too well done to be done with a marker. It's definitely done with paint with like a spray paint. And it's very fine. It's round both eyes, things like that, and it's got that marbling that he had in the film.
Yeah, that is cool.
But
like you said, his tunic being that different color too.
Yeah, the tunic's a different color as well. So I try to show people to think, oh yeah, there is a variant like that, but nobody's ever said that there is. Usually, it's only the different color tunic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That was dug up out of the backyard.
Buried treasure.
Buried treasure, yeah.
It be Kenner you're after.
Is there any markings on it, Andrew, like Toll Toys or anything like that, or nothing you've discovered, or it just says Kenner on the back like all the others?
It's got Hong Kong. It's got Lucasfilm Limited 82.
Yeah,
and but no, I can't see any other.
Nothing irregular.
It doesn't say Kenner on it, so I don't know if the other ones say Kenner on it, or it's just the same markings that they have.
That would be really cool to be able to dig and know, was that just that person's first day on the job, and then the next day they fired him because he was a little too artistic, or it was a sample, first.
Well, I know that it did happen because there was a fellow out here. He bought a Return of the Jedi speeder bike in the box, and he opened it up, and they're in the two pieces.
Yeah,
and well, he's had like a big screws in them, and he goes, "Oh, I bought a dodgy one where someone's fixed it." And it wasn't. It was a prototype.
Whoa!
And it was actually a prototype. So that it got out. So so these things do happen crazy. Apparently.
Yeah. These it's just in the ether out there floating.
Yeah. Well, it's they could have worked for the company, brought samples home for the kids to play with, and everything lost in the backyard.
a friend of mine, a good mentor of mine, follow me on this, his son-in-law I got to be friends with.
Yeah.
His son-in-law had a brother. His brother worked at Kenner. He had an older brother. He was the younger brother. But his older brother worked at Kenner as a designer, and he said he used to bring home all kinds of work, and it would be on the kitchen table, all these prototypes and whatnot. And he sent me a few pictures of some of the things that he kept. I think the sad story was his brother had passed, so he inherited all this. But he had prototype Boba Fett. I've got a picture of him holding it with his son, and I'm like, holy moly! And he sold that on, I think, in the early 2000s, and he was like, wow, I really should have held on to that. With prototype Rancor. Yep. His brother also worked on the Kenner micro collection, so the Hoth micro collection. He designed that, and I'm like, wow. I didn't know your brother, but I love his work.
Used to play with it.
Yeah. He was like, you never knew what was going to be on the kitchen table. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. So, yeah, that stuff's got to be and is out there. You get glimpses like that every now and then.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Every now and then something pops up, doesn't it? Out of the
that you're like,
out of the ether. Yeah. It's so cool. I remember watching we watched Analog Toys' video recently about the Palitoy factory closing and how they thought they may have moved it all off to a bit of landfill, and there's people, I love those type of mysteries. It's almost like a Roman history lesson, but just for toys. And
very much so.
Yeah,
and it's like they've built lots of houses on what was the landfill now, and you want me to flex? I'll flex a little. So last Monday we got to go to Leicester Vintage Toys and meet a whole bunch of people there.
Yep.
And Nick Action Pop Dad and Alan Dawson were rather instrumental in getting Bob Breakin to show up and have lunch with us and then take us on a tour of the Palatoy site. Because he was like, well, when I take you on the tour, and I was like, did you what? And he goes, oh yeah, I'm taking you around. And I'm like, oh, this day just keeps getting better and better. I'm like, Alan, I thought Alan was going to take us around, and I was happy as a clam, right? With that.
Yeah.
Nope. Bob Breakin with his cool hat and sunglasses taking us around. But I was thinking of that. I'm like, somewhere is that landfill, and might possibly be just buried gold treasures.
Well, it's like that. We watched where they dug up in the landfill the ET games from Atari.
Yeah,
and they were because they were so deep in the soil. They were in such good condition.
Yeah, like you said, it was deep enough that it just kind of frozen in time.
Yeah, frozen in time. So I wonder if the Palatoy stuff's the same, that it's down that deep. It hasn't sort of decomposed. Cool. Drilling and up comes Starfaders. It's like wet gold.
You imagine if you have a flat that's over that site and you're like, okay, we're gonna, basements are not common in England, but we're gonna have one and just start digging.
Well, that's like they do in Egypt. Apparently, when they build they have to check their places. Yeah, because they dig tunnels inside their house to try find.
Yep, and because everybody's over all these antiquities, it's
so we'll rent some houses over the Palatoy site.
Right? Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Oh, we have some new neighbors. We're like,
walk out, dropping some soil out of our legs like the Great Escape.
I was thinking the Great Escape.
I was thinking like that movie Holes. Remember that movie Holes? And they're digging.
Yeah.
Just Sigourney Weaver with the children's looking after this. You go and dig. They're digging everywhere trying to find something for. I can't remember what. But,
do you have a flat with a bigger garden out back? Yeah, that'll do.
Oh dear. So what was the one of the just a highlight of? Or I don't know if you can put one highlight on celebrations, but highlight
on celebration. Honestly, what
this is too difficult.
I can name it. It's being with this community that we're all a part of. Having all those folks in one spot, that's what made it fun. We did not go out of our way to go queue up to get into a specific panel or anything like that. For Leslie and I, it was job one. Like, we want to spend time with people and just hang out and shoot the shit, drink a pint, go toy hunt, and just soak in hanging out, after being friends online since lockdown. That was the best part. And then the icing on the cake was like, oh yeah, there's Rosario Dawson, up on the live stage. Cool. We're like 50 feet away. That's neat. Hey, where are we going now, guys? Be like, can we stop and get more Mr. Whippy? Sweet.
You're a good boy, Scuba.
Yeah. Like, I tried to keep my spending down today. Could I get 2 Mr. Whippies?
There's nothing like ice cream on tap, isn't there?
Right? Yeah. I have to say, Leslie was a saint. So was Camilla and Helen from DTM Dave's wife. Like, we ended up, they have Costa coffee shops in there, and one of them we kind of made our base camp. So the gals would just kind of hang around there and start collecting seats and areas. And so it gave us a place to be able to be like, and I just bought a Palatoy Death Star. Here, let me leave that with you.
How much was that?
Yeah, be like, that's not important right now. These aren't the prices you're thinking about.
Let's get some more ice cream.
Yeah, Mr. Whippy for everyone. But yeah, just being able to have a home base like that, because the cell service sucked. I mean, I lost Simon for like 6 hours one day. I couldn't. There was no way to communicate with him where I was until I just bumped into him later, and I'm like, Simon. So I mean, some people had a decent signal, but for the most part, that was everybody's biggest complaint was you couldn't get a signal, let alone run the Star Wars app from Celebration that might tell you that Rosario Dawson's up on the live stage in a half hour.
Is that so? Why everyone was carrying a lightsaber so they could wave it in the air? I'm here.
So many. I mean, the cosplay was crazy cool. I mean, I had my picture taken with Pizza the Hut from Spaceballs. It was awesome. I came out of the Hasbro booth, right? So I'm like, the helmets. They had a katana on display, which I thought was a little saucy. Sidebar. I'm like, that wasn't even for sale here in the UK. I'm like, well, you guys, that's kind of ballsy to be. Hey, look how cool it is. Sorry, you couldn't get it. I think they should fix that and let people re-up on it. But anyway, so I walk out of their booth and I'm like, Pizza the Hut. And this guy, he's like, hey, and I'm like, can I get my picture? And he was like, sure. I mean, even kind of, he was walking like
you're walking like it. I love how you tell stories, Scuba. I'm just laughing here.
It was just so unexpected, right? Like I'd pass the Indiana Jones, I'd pass the katana. Oh, those are cool. That's neat. And then Spaceballs.
I don't know where. Oh yeah, like 100%. I understand the last couple of cons toy fairs I've gone to, like the toy hunting hasn't been amazing, but the people that you hang out with, they make the day, Yep. So I 100% understand. I seen a lot of pictures from, I think Stu was bumping into everybody. Like every now and then there's like a Instagram of, and this is, this guy and this guy. And I'm like, oh, is that what they look like? Oh, that's great.
He's like, that's paging Mr. Morrow. And I was like, who? And he's like, oh, he's a Disney vlogger. And I'm like, oh, I thought I knew Disney vlog. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, he was like, ding, ding, ding.
Should we talk flag, Andrew? I know you're super keen to.
Yes. Permission to come aboard.
Permission granted, sir.
You two admirals.
Don't tell me I'm frozen.
No, you're good.
You're live. You're good.
Yeah. Live. Oh, maybe he's frozen now.
Now he's frozen.
Now he's frozen.
I think Shipwrecks must be messing with his internet.
The flag has ran aground. Oh, Andrew. I'll remove him, and I guess we'll get him back eventually.
Yeah, he'll get back in.
I've been watching. We've been watching the guys from G.I. Joeberg a lot. How they play with their flag quite a lot. Oh. Just amazed how they've been doing the mods on it. And I think it's giving Andrew a lot of inspiration on how to build his up a little bit. And
that was they were, it was like Retro Blasting, Michael Mercy, and G.I. Joeberg. All those guys, when I started thinking about, okay, what do I want to do with my flag base? All that kind of got distilled down into what I created. Yeah. And it's, it's already taken up 7.5 feet long. What's wrong with making it cocktail table height? I mean, you might as well have more display space underneath.
Well, I think is it Steve? Is from G.I. Joeberg? And he's had his kid walking on the deck. I'm like, what?
I know. I was like, whoa.
He's treating that toy. He's back.
And I'm back.
You're back.
You're back. It's all right.
Sorry about that.
We didn't talk about you too much.
I got called away on a mission. Sorry.
Side mission,
the flag.
The flag.
How did you find this? I mean, they're relatively prevalent here in the States.
Yeah, well, they are. I don't know how many people in Australia have got them, but a there's a toy store west of Sydney. A fellow named Kyle, and he's got a store, Second Childhood Toys, it's called.
Yep, I like that.
And he had one, and he had it. It wasn't assembled; it was just in the back. He'd bought a collection, and anyway, I just hounded him. I said, "Look, I've got to have this thing," because I started to get into G.I. Joe, and I did like it. I mean, I didn't have it when I was a kid. What was all my childhood was all Star Wars.
Yeah,
and so I went, well, yeah, you can get the vehicles and the figures, but you need that sort of holy. And
Keep going. Yeah, he's still
yeah,
live.
you're good.
I'm still live. Or is Scuba frozen this time?
No.
Am I frozen?
No, you're not frozen. Yeah,
no,
we're all good.
Frozen. Sorry, having internet problems this morning. Anyway, yeah. So I wanted a Grail piece. I said to Matt this year, I wanted a Grail piece, and I had it was a toss up between going the trying to find a flag or a sail barge.
Yeah,
and so there was someone was selling a sail barge at the one of the last toy shows we went to, and I went, oh, it's limited because the sail barge is that one scene in Star Wars.
Yep, it's very. That's it.
That's it. That's that scene, and you can only do so much with it, and you just display it. But with the flag, you know, as you see on the Instagram, you can put
just everything. Everything fits on the flag.
I was putting everything on, as you saw. I had the Empire taken over it, and
Doctor Who was taken over it.
Yeah, because you can actually play with it. You can actually play with it. You know, whether the other one you just sort of limited in that scene. So anyway, I hounded this fellow Kyle, and he was umming and ahhing, and I said, and I went out there a couple of weeks ago, and I said, and he said, yeah. All right, you can take it. And
you wore him down.
You wore him down. So I took it home and cleaned it up, and it was only missing about 10. Was only missing about 10 pieces out of it.
So, that's not shabby.
Yeah, so it was like that, sort of the harder the stuff, the harder to get stuff was there.
Nice.
Like the valve inside and all that sort of thing, and the actual bridge interiors there. And but it was more the common stuff like the radar net was missing. And the front stairs that go down to the radar dish. Yep. That's those sort of more common ones.
Yeah, that's much more tolerable to try and find.
Yeah, you can get them on eBay. There's quite a few of them and things like that. So the pieces I need will be quite easy to find. And
mine was the. It's the usual suspects: fantail railing, Y pins, and mast cap, and it's like, oh god. So it's like reproductions. You know, as placeholders. If I
can't believe that little railing, because it looks like a piece of sprue. That's what they reckon most people they would have thrown it out because it just looks like a bit of sprue from what the bits were stuck on, and they want like $400 for an original.
Oh, it's
pieces. Just craziness. You go, why would I bother doing that?
$400 US. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's went up even more.
Yeah, because I looked on, been looking on eBay, looking at parts and things like that, and but there's even a bloke who does like a reproduction little railing that says USS Flag on it.
Yeah, as a 3D printed.
Yeah, and I thought I might get that one.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. I came across that. I'm like, fans doing the best work.
Yeah, but I watched your video and yours again last night, and with the base underneath. So I'm going to do the same thing and build the base, because at the moment this is where you walk into the room, and it's sort of blocking the whole entrance because the thing's massive, isn't it?
It's 7.5 feet long. I was telling Matt when you got froze, it's already taken up 7.5 feet of length, making it, table height, might as well, and just have that much more storage. And then when you put it on rollers, you can surf it around.
Yeah, well, I have to, after I put it on the base, I'll actually have to build a cabinet to actually sit that on, really. So I can sort of put it over there and move things around because I've got so much other stuff.
Yeah.
Blocking everywhere.
Weren't you given another room, Scuba, to put yours in?
Yeah. That way is the toy room expansion. Because our daughter got married, and that's how she consoled me was, I'm not dying, Dad. I'm just getting married. And I'm like, yeah, but you won't be home every night. And because she, didn't go too far away for university, so we got to see her. We were spoiled. But yeah. So I got her old room, and she came over the other week, and she goes, wow, this transformed rapidly. And I'm like, new carpet with like the plushest pad, and it's already saved my bacon, moving a few things in there, and it falls off, and it just bounced like on a cloud. Boink. And I'm like, look, it didn't break. New flat screen TV, I touched up the painting and all that, and just started moving stuff wholesale in there. So yeah, I know I'm blessed to have a lot of room after hanging out with my English friends, brethren, and they were like, if we only had a basement,
our collection would be so much bigger.
Right. Yeah. They were like, I wouldn't have to do the one in, one out, kind of deal.
But you only just end up like myself. You sort of like, you sort of go, oh, I'm moving to a bigger space. Then you just end up collecting more.
Exactly.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, just yeah. You get the Eternia, which got moved in there the other week.
Ooh, is there a video on that one getting moved? That piqued my interest.
It was just Leslie and I with like a sheet of Luan plywood, just like
balance,
because when we saw you put it together and you broke that track, and
yep,
we just went,
oh my god, what?
Oh, no.
I'm not even kidding. So like it breaks and I stop shooting and there's a whole lot of cuss words.
Yeah, we imagined, yeah.
And then I went, and I think I had at least 2 bourbons, if not 3. So like a couple hours later, I come back to like, okay, how am I going to fix this? I'm going to repair it. So that's what you miss in between it breaking and, oh, I did this repair, Oh,
that's the problem with the old toys, isn't it? As the years go on, the plastic becomes very brittle.
Yeah, those tracks it's like glass. It really is.
Because I mean, Matt and myself, we've got like the Buck Rogers toys from Mego.
Oh,
and the we noticed because we don't touch them and they're in their display case each and
can't touch them.
Yeah, you can't touch them. Yeah, and we noticed like the nose cones had just split. There was nothing wrong with them when we first put especially with mine, I put them in, and it's just the age. All of a sudden they've just they're just cracked. When you go, oh, what do you do? Yeah. So when we saw you put that track together, and it cracked, we go. It was a surprise, but it wasn't really, because we know the age.
Yeah,
of the toy.
I knew I was tempting fate, but I'm like, I can't do a proper build of this if I don't try to tackle this track.
Correct. Yeah,
and I'm, to have it break on, it was like, okay, everybody can see that it just shatters like glass, and I plan on getting a repro track. They're on eBay for I think around $100.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it on that, but I also have the Origins Eternia coming. I back that. So there's going to be 2.
You can link them up.
Yeah, Leslie's like, where's that going to go? And at the time we didn't have Halo. I was like, don't worry about it. I was totally doing the Jedi mind trick. That's not important right now.
You can have them linked up, and it's like all the new ones, and they're going, "Oh, where we're going? Oh, we're going into the bad side now."
Yeah, exactly. You're going over to, oh no, the Snake Man. Ah.
Yeah, that's one of Matt's grails in a Matt, and they get an Eternia.
One day, yeah. I thought there's that one down at Lobo's down in Melbourne, and I thought, yeah, maybe be good, save money, get some operations done first, see what happens next year. Maybe it's my turn. But like yourself, it won't be complete. I think it's missing a lot of the rails, and I'd probably have to hunt down some repro parts. I don't mind. Like, I think for a set like that, that's just so massive, you wouldn't be really sitting there going, "Oh, that's a repro part." I think you'd be just happy to have it there and all displayed up. I think
you'd be happy just to have those 3 towers and sitting there.
Yeah, and I think people would be amazed just by those sitting there.
Yeah, it is 3 towers, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that Lion Central Tower is just, I mean, it's cool in its own right. I remember just taking it out of, doing the unboxing when Jeff shipped it to me and just getting to that lion face and all. You're like, okay, this is seriously cool. I mean, it's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I understand it's nuts. It's Six Flags over Eternia, theme park with, but it's just so over the top that it's like addictively cool.
I do think maybe I should just get the towers, like maybe 1 tower at the moment, and then just stick it somewhere in the room, and then another tower a little bit down the track, and then eventually get parts.
Yeah, link it all together. Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm an enabler. I think that's a great idea, man. I think you should do that tomorrow.
Okay.
Go get that hyper tower.
Well, you only need the sail barge now, Scuba, and you'll have the 3 grails, won't you?
I know. Like I said, it's Star Wars to see it. I've seen it at a toy shop, but like they kind of have it in this giant case, and you really can't get up close to it. And I will say Hasbro did a good job where you could really mug up, on it, and it had the sand going. I'm sure you guys have seen pics of it, and I was like, okay, that in its own right is really cool, and I would want a diorama of the whole Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, it's a shame because I mean they've done the molds for it. You think they would have pumped it out?
At least make it in lieu of other, there's no Star Wars Hasbro Pulses going on or HasLabs. It's like do it again.
Yeah,
just launch another one.
I'm sure they'd sell millions of them. Really,
yeah.
You just don't understand why they don't do it. They spend all that money doing the getting the money to do the molds and all that.
Yeah, all the tooling and everything.
Yeah, just do it in a different box art so it doesn't piss off the collectors and you just don't understand their thinking.
The barge wasn't available, was it, when they put that up on the HasLab? Was it?
No, not here.
Not globally.
Not here. In Australia, sorry, no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of the pop culture stores here in Australia tried to do it, but they couldn't arrange it with them. And they did with the Razor Crest and which put up the back there, and
it really was a slap in the face to the rest of the globe. Like seriously, there's not Star Wars fans anywhere else that wouldn't like a crack at that. Like no, let's cut our face off to Spider. We'll just do America and Canada. It's good.
Did they do the UK? Was the UK involved? No, as well. Wow.
No, because Stu bought one third party.
That's right. Yeah, he had to get a second mortgage on his house. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. Georgie said he's going to sleep in that box. She knows what that box cost.
And it's a huge item as well. When I saw the box at the toy show last we went to, it was a massive box, and so I haven't really seen the flag box like with someone with it, to get a size. You see a picture of it, but you don't get that size of it, do you?
I've upgraded my flag box to a better one, and it's ginormous. It's huge.
Yeah, that's right. It's sitting on the back of the shelf, isn't it?
In the new room. It was fit very nicely right there, and it's up and protected. And I'm like, and there you
Can
shall
it come
rest.
down? Or it's got to stay. Ooh,
no,
maybe
come down.
Can we put a special request in for a picture?
How about I just go get it?
Yeah,
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. We're doing this. It's live. Watch out.
Do it. Excellent. I'm spending half the time bloody laughing. I don't know. That's just fan. Yeah, there you go. Sounds cool. Yeah, just do it. And he's just gonna. I think Andrew's gonna outflex you. Like you're a pretty good flexer. I think this might outflex you, dude.
Oh, of course. And I think most big collectors in the States, I mean, they got access to to everything, really.
Yeah, they do.
We sort of get the scraps down here, so
there's the leftovers.
The leftovers, yeah.
All right, you ready?
All right.
Yeah.
We feel like we should play like Christopher Cross's "Sailing Takes Me Away." Oh wait,
you have to back right up. Wow,
go down.
That is a
barely hold it.
That's just
Here,
incredible.
I'll just get out of the way. Here, make me big. Can you make me big?
Out of the way, Scuba.
Make him big, Matt. Make him big.
Oh, yeah, got to make you big. Sorry, I'm too busy looking at it.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit.
I've got it wrong again.
It's a bit. The box is a bit clickbaity, shit, actually, isn't it, Pete? Yeah.
Leslie.
Hey, say hello, Leslie.
G'day.
My lovely assistant.
That's right. Tonight you can win a USS flag box.
Or what's behind door number 3? Take the flag box.
Yeah, but the flags box just as expensive as getting the flag.
It's up there. Yeah. Luckily, mine when I bought it actually came with the box, and I stumbled upon that one, which is in way better nick. My other one was faded, and so I was toy hunting up in Indianapolis at a place called the Toy Drop. Done a couple of toy hunts from there, and I'm poking around, and I'm like, flag box, and it even had the I think that one had it Target $99.99, back in the day, so $100.
$100, yeah.
Wow.
And so I asked the lady, I'm like, flag box for sale? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, how much? And she goes, she already looked at the pile I was amassing and laughed and went, $50. And I went, sold. And so I said, why do you just, now that I can ask, it's going to be mine. I'm like, why do you just have a flag box, if I might inquire? And she said, you're never going to believe this. We had a complete flag. And she said, complete everything. And we had it all set up. And a guy bought it. And so he shows up with the giant SUV. She said we had it on a piece of plywood. And we literally just loaded it out the door, wholesale. She said, and I ran out with the box before he took off and went, hey, don't forget your box. And he goes, oh, I don't want that. And I'm like, who says that? I'm like, and she goes, well, you paid for it. It was in the price. And he was like, I don't want it.
Okay.
So, yeah, his poor decision was my gain.
Absolutely.
I'm like, yes, I will take that. And our daughter was with us at the time, and she because I didn't have Leslie, she goes, where's that gonna go? And I went, that's not important right now.
That's right. That's why you sneak it in. You wait till they have a shower and you go out to the car and you.
Is that what you do, Andrew?
Keep your mother busy.
As soon as I hear the shower, out of the car.
Run. We've got 5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But when I brought it home and I went, I'm putting it in, I go, well, the main base is like this. And I'm going, oh, I've bitten more off than I can chew. I rang Matt and said, oh, I might have bitten something more off than I can chew. I mean, it was very dirty. It was very dirty. And I went, I'm going to have to clean it. And because it took me all weekend to do it. And I went, well, I was going to, I won't even fit in the bathtub, the main deck.
Right, yeah, to wash it.
Yeah, it was covered in dirt. So I ran out the front and got the hose and the sugar soap and the hose.
Yeah, nothing to see here, just a man washing his toys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it came out good. It was come out good. I absolutely love it. It's
It's certainly. I mean, I never knew anyone that had it. I didn't have it as a kid, but I knew none of my friends had it either. And so, yeah, to be able to, as an adult with some extra income, to be like, "Yep, I'm doing it."
Yeah,
it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's just like being a kid again, and
yeah,
I move it around all the time, like all the stuff on the deck. I mean, it's a new fad for me, so to have this sort of toy. So I just love it.
Yeah, it just lends itself to this constant changing carrier operations, and I'll change out the jets and stuff. I'm about due to redo the scene again. So that to me, I don't take it out back anymore, but I like to rearrange my figures. And
yeah, it's great. It's a good toy.
I'm already thinking of games that I could, as a kid, be playing on the deck of the flag itself. Like we would have gone, oh, look, let's get a bunch of bad dudes up one end, a bunch of good dudes at one end, give them maybe one vehicle each, and let them go for it in the middle, and it'd be a big battle on the
what
flag
happens.
deck.
Exactly.
I'm already imagining something like that happening as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, like you go off and I go, whoop, and
the sound you never want to hear.
Especially in here, I dropped something in another live stream the other day, and it fell on something, and it didn't break it, but it knocked apart. But you can get things like you get the Jupiter 2 out.
Yeah,
and it's got the little landing things, and
right,
and they could have a scene where you land on the flag.
Be like, sir, you're never gonna believe what just landed on the deck.
Yeah.
Speak up, sailor. It's a UFO.
It's a UFO, yeah.
A UFO.
What's the admiral's name? I'm a bit clueless, but what's the admiral's name that runs the ship?
Oh my gosh, I got stream brain all of a sudden. Why don't I?
Come on, Andrew, help him out.
Oh my gosh,
Admiral Flag.
I think it is just his name's Flag, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it. I think you're right. I mean,
really?
Yeah, because apparently there was an admiral. It was named after a proper admiral, wasn't it? I think the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or was it in the comic that his name was Flag?
I think it was. No, it was the comic. Oh my gosh!
Everybody's
gonna be like, he's not a GI Joe collector.
I'm only a novice. It's remembering all these guys' names, and you go, they've got all these weird names,
right?
And you go, I'm never going to remember all these names. It's
just make them up.
And you grab it and you go, what? He comes out with a name called like Psych Out, And I'm going, what's his name? And
yeah,
you can go look him up, Psych Out.
It's Psych Out.
But I got this collection a collection of G.I. Joe years ago, and it had all these accessories. And I go, where's the figures? So they must have the parents, but when the figures broke, they break the little O-ring.
Yeah, just
they've actually just ditched the parts of the figure and kept the accessories. And and Phil from Treasures of a Trigger, he was very kind of me to send a Psych Out. And then the other day I went, hey, I've got all the accessories. I didn't have the figure, but I had all the accessories, the backpack, the little radar. Nice. Yeah, it was great just to put the accessories on and go, oh, he's complete now.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Phil. Treasures for
that again. That feeling of being able to complete a figure like that.
Yeah,
it's just good, and I don't know. There's a delayed satisfaction, if you only find like one part, but up in your head, like, oh, I'm still looking for that katana or that Uzi, to complete it. Like, I'll find it. You'll run into it. I mean,
because they have so many accessories. It's just incredible. But
yep.
And even the toys, you go, they've got these little engine caps and things like that. Little panels that take off, and And you go, why'd they have that? when they're only going to lose all, you lose them all.
Admiral Ledger, is that
Admiral Ledger? I think it is the Admiral flag, but does yours have the weapon, his gun?
I don't have the Admiral.
You don't? Okay.
I'll have to get him off eBay. There's plenty of them on eBay, so I'll get one off eBay.
I'll keep my eyes peeled for you because they do turn up around here
at the toy shows and things. Yeah, well,
yep,
yeah.
Usually not with their gun.
To tell the truth, this is the first time since I've been collecting for 30 years that I've actually seen one in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So I never seen one at a toy show or anything like that. And
that's what was weird. Joe Fest in Augusta, aka Valicon. Last year, Jeff Barker and I were, walking around in kind of our first lap of the day on Saturday, and we're like, "So, there's a flag.
Yeah,
there's a flag. There's a flag." I'm like, "There's like 5 flags in this room, and you're like, Terradrome. It's just, it gets to be mind-boggling. Like, what? All in one showroom.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's, down in Australia, it's hard. To get these sort of big sets. I don't know if they. I suppose a few came out to Australia, but it was because of the size. Then they would have shipped them by sea back then. So it would have been quite expensive for them to bring them out.
Keel Hall. Look at Leslie.
Keel Hall. There you go.
Well done.
Someone's got Google.
Yeah, right. Thank you.
What a backup.
Right.
We because we're older blokes will go, hang on, I'll get my collector's magazine and go through it.
We're so old school.
The Tomarts magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used to be good. I used to get the Tomarts magazine, and you'd have the whole collection, and you could go through it as the catalogue and check it off.
Oh, yeah.
But now you just into Google.
Now you just here you go.
That's what Andrew did. Like when I first got back into seriously with Motu stuff, he I don't know, Andrew, you must have ripped all the pages out just of the Motu stuff, and that was my go-to reference guide for many years. Probably even now, I've still got those pages, and you'll just go, "Oh yeah, got it." Like it's almost like as a kid,
you're back.
Your card back and go, "Tick, got it."
Yeah.
Circle it if you need it.
Because I've got a lot of reference books for Star Wars, the Star Wars figures. You buy those reference books and things like that. They're great. Especially because if I move like this Star Wars stuff, I'm going to move again. And they're all the Power of the Force ones from the 90s, and they come with all these extra weapons and things like that. And you move them, and they get moved around. And you go, "What bloody hell's that one to?"
Yeah, you got the Ziploc. Oh, crap.
Yeah, so I got to do a big reset myself.
It was.
It was, Scott. It really was the Google of our time.
Yeah. Yeah, they were great.
That was some of my favorite. You get the like the wish book catalog before Christmas, and you go in there and just start circling things, just like the movie, Christmas, like might want that, and I definitely would like that. We're like, and here I've very handily circled everything that I would like, and Craig would my brother would star it or do something different. Because heaven forbid we mix our toys. Like,
my brothers and I would sit there before Christmas. You get the catalogs, and if we all wanted one, go, well, who's going to get that? I'll get it. Okay, well, you get the next one. So we'd take turns and work it out. It's like that. Here, Mum and Dad, this is what we want for Christmas. It's all in the magazine.
Yeah.
There was one Christmas. I was big in, and still am, into Lego. And my brother's kind of, he appreciated it, but it just wasn't his just all-time favorite thing. And I remember getting him a Lego set that I desperately wanted for Christmas. Mom and Dad were like, all right, pick your brother out a gift. We're going to obviously pay for that. And you're like, oh, I think he would love this. And they were like, oh, okay. He unwraps it and he's just like, Thanks. I'm like, oh, you don't want it? Okay.
It's like because we used to get the toy catalogs, like they put in your mailbox, and you know. And I remember back in the 80s, it was around about when the Empire Strikes Back came out, and for Christmas I circled the Kenner one. But what did I get for Christmas? No, I got the Empire Strikes Back MPC model kit.
Oh no!
That's not the Millennium Falcon.
That is not the Falcon. They're like, I have to actually build it.
Yeah, so I did. I built it, and I still got it. I still got it in the box there. But
hey, tough man. Yeah, those model kits. Actually, there were quite a few for sale at Celebration. You know, still shrink wrap, like right off the retailer's shelf.
Yeah, they had some good box art on actually.
It really did.
They're really nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey,
so it wasn't until I was older that I actually got a Millennium Falcon in the Empire Strikes Back box.
Nice.
What
you actually circled.
You got to actually circle it. Finally got it. I only had to get to 50 to get it.
So many Christmases have passed.
We all got one of those stories, Andrew, don't we?
Yeah, but you miss that feeling, though, still to wake up in Christmas and you unwrap it and there's a couple of Star Wars figures in there and, you know, at the bottom of your bed. And, you know, we try to get that feeling back again and it just doesn't sort of work, does it?
No, it's not the same, but you know what? I'm going to keep on trying.
I think it's because we buy it ourselves and we know what it is.
Yeah, I do.
Try to pretend that I don't know what it was.
I always tell it, Leslie, just set aside, you know, you can give it to me for Christmas. And she's like, all right. Like, you know, you're 50 years old. I don't think you're going to forget that you gave me this particular toy 2 months before Christmas. Like, well, it could happen.
It's like a couple of Christmases ago, I got the modern version of the Millennium Falcon. And it comes in a huge box as well. So the night before, I wrapped it myself and I put it under the tree. And so, anyway, my wife comes down and this giant-sized box as big as a fridge, you know.
Santa like, really did come.
I think we've been. Somebody broke into the house.
I said Santa's been good to me this year.
No, see, look, it's got sound effects. Santa knows I love it.
I've got two of them now because one's got the round dish and then they did the newer one with the square radar dish that got knocked off. And
I think what always helped me as an adult, getting into the Christmas spirit was watching a lot of those old cartoons and, you know, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty, You Without a Santa Claus. And that kind of got me slowly into the mood. You never really fully recapture the whole unwrapping the presents. Oh, my God, what have I got? It's a Star Wars. You never get that back, but you can kind of get halfway there.
You can't. Yeah, those are
Rankin
all...
Bass, isn't it? Rankin Bass.
Rankin Bass. Oh, I love those.
Yeah, they don't play them. They used to play them on TV here. They don't do it anymore. You know.
Yeah, we had to like buy it on DVD because it's
correct.
I think like Apple owns it or something crazy, and it's like
get up and flex, Matt. Get up and flex and show feet.
Wait, things might fall.
That's all right. That's part of the
part of the charm, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the pain of reaching for one single thing on your shelf and then you just domino it.
Here we go. Look at that. I've got to try and make myself big too, don't I? Oh, wrong one. There we go. Here we go. Wait a sec.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome, isn't it?
That is fantastic.
Yeah, Necker. I've had that for years.
Snow Miser.
Yes, Snow Miser. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to hear Leanne upstairs going, sing it. Heat Miser.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the glare away, but I can't.
Just turn things down a bit.
Mr. 101.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Freeze Master. Whatever I touch.
Too much.
Yeah.
It's they used to be on every time Christmas come around and even here in Australia, like it's a bit of a different time, but we just had Easter, and every year that in Australia they play on our Channel 9, and that was the Charlton Heston's The 10 Commandments, and even this Easter, I was saying to my daughter, I go, "Oh, I can't wait! They're going to play
Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments."
They didn't. They played Russell Crowe's version of Moses.
No.
And I went, I don't want Russell Crowe. I want my Charlton Heston.
I don't blame you, Charlton Heston. Little known fact, I actually in college, we have like a trimester, so it was a very short, like 6-week course. Yeah. You just took one intensive course, and so I took this theology class because I really liked the professor, so it was an easy A. Yeah, and it was fun. Like one spring, it was Tolkien and religion. So we read The Hobbit and we talked about religion. It was way cool. He served snacks and tea and donuts. Fantastic. Anyway, same professor, but this time it was like, well, for your final, you can write a song, you can do poetry, and I'm like, yeah, not happening. He's like, if you want to make a mini movie, and I'm like, I'm listening. Yeah. And he's like, whatever. So I took the 10 Commandments and made it into a teaser trailer I renamed it Moses, 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 because it seemed like in that movie, whenever they would say Moses, they'd say it 3 times, kind of like Beetlejuice, like Moses, Moses. Anyway, so it's like, and I was the narrator, and I got a bunch of old high school friends to help me out that I'm still friends with. And I'm like, look, you guys were always making funny movies and stuff back in the day. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll totally help. So they were like the Israelite slaves when I needed them to be. So it was like, we did dumb stuff like under the watchful eye of the taskmaster. And then we had a guy who was dressed up like a state trooper with mirrored sunglasses and a shotgun, and he's like surveying the field, and then cut to a couple friends that are dressed up like Israelite slaves goofing off, and in fact, just stupid. See the parting of the Red Sea. And so we made a bunch of red Jello. And so we had the hand of God going. And then pardon the sea. Yeah, I'm sorry. I digress.
Is that available to watch?
I need to dig it up. It's on VHS somewhere in the storage room, but yeah.
Ooh,
it should be a real DVD. Cult classic.
Well, I think Peter Jackson had to start somewhere too. I think he made something like a stop motion film so bad, but it was a short, probably similar to yours with his mates.
Yeah, you got to. Before YouTube was a thing, I mean.
I'd buy that for $1. So what's Scuba? What now that you've got these grails, it's been going through my mind. Like, what is the next grail? Sorry, Leslie, but what's the next grail, if any?
So yeah, finding those, I think I revert back to wacky variants because I don't really have too many of those. Probably a more carded Action Force. I've got quite a loose collection of them, but I'd like more of the carded Action Force. So I'm on a couple Facebook groups for that, to try and keep the prices within those. I guess like a lot of groups, are pretty reasonable. It's like collector, like, hey, I'm looking for this. Oh, well, I have that. So yeah, I think it's stuff like that rather than just. I mean, I'm a sucker for a playset, but
yeah,
so not big sets.
But your main stuff you collect is G.I. Joe, Star Wars, and would you say Mask? Is it or
Motu?
Sorry.
Yeah, and then in the Mask, Mask is actually that's definitely ramping up because there's so many vehicles that I don't have thanks to Gen X Jody and Chris Miwa. That are Luke Reynolds that was on here or is still on here. Yeah, they've set the Mask hook in me. I did pick up yeah, they are. I mean, we all are, right? I got the Detonator, the purple VW Bug. from Leicester Vintage Toys. So that was cool.
Yep.
To pick up. So yeah.
With those masks, I didn't know how I didn't realize how small the figures were. I thought they were actually 3 3/4. And it wasn't until we went toy hunting, and another YouTuber we went to called Ryan the Collector Kid, he bought a collection, a small collection of them, and they're only about an inch tall, aren't they?
Yeah, they're tiny little dudes,
tiny little things. And I went,
tiny little dudes.
No wonder they lose the helmets and.
Yeah, you figure those helmets are easily lost.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like Scotty Crusher, he collects Mighty Max from the 90s, you know, and you open it up and they've got this tiny little thing. And I think, what would toy makers trying to do? Make kids blind or something back in the day?
I know, yeah. Oh, he's got his sword.
You'd open it up and it'd go, and you'd lose everything.
You watch them. There'll be a generation of these 90s kids with like 2-inch glasses because they played with Mighty Maxes as a kid, you know?
Yeah, you're still collecting Adventure People, are you, Scuba?
Yeah, that's when I find the odd Adventure People set. Yeah, because so much of Adventure, that was really my action figures before Star Wars hit. So I'm a 72 baby, and it was Adventure People was like my favorite thing, and then Star Wars came out.
Yeah,
but now it's going back, and it's so weird to see like the Wilderness Ranger set with the plane and it has the floats, and I'm like, I played with that at preschool. I mean, I remember playing with that at preschool.
Wow.
So to get that, like I've got most of it now. I mean, it's just like, this is good. This is great. And now I've got more room to display it because, you know, upstairs it's like in a Detolf, like
Little People as well.
She's thinking of Weebles.
Oh, those Weebles ones that
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
That was
the tagline. And I did with Shabby. I was toy hunting in North Carolina, and I came across the Weebles Ranch, which I had as a kid, and I was just, I mean, it was flabbergasted. I'm like, it's the ranch, you know. And Shabby's like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, it's the Weeble Ranch.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think out of all my childhood toys, I'm only missing like one action figure now.
Really?
And I just can't afford to buy it. And that was from Mego's The Black Hole. You know, Disney's The Black Hole.
Yep.
And there was I got the figures. The only one I haven't got is Old Bob.
Ooh. Never see Old Bob.
Yeah, and I think about 3,000 or 4,000 if you can find one. You know, Australian.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
But you know, and I go, Old Bob. I go, I still wander around. There's going to be this old bloke still wandering around trying to find Old Bob. It's like, where's the marbles? Where's Old Bob?
Excuse me, do you have an Old Bob? Be like, is your name Bob? Be like, I see the irony.
That voice.
I guess if there's always something elusive out there, you never finish. You never finish with the hobby.
No.
And, I mean, even we went to one of the bigger toy shows we have, and Matt comes down and stays, and we go early in the morning, and he was going through the collection and go, because when you get there, you forget what you have. You know, when you have a lot of stuff, and like he was going through I got the aliens up there, the Kenner aliens, and
lovely.
He goes, oh, you're missing about how much was it? Probably down to 5 figures now that I haven't got on card. And I said, well, I do see them, but sometimes I don't buy them. You sort of like throw the tiddler back in the because you always got something to chase in, haven't you? You don't want to.
There's a thrill to that, you know, those endorphins and the hunt. There is definitely something about the hunt.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, I wouldn't go off and go, oh, well, I'll buy that, finish that. And you look around and go, oh, I'm done now. Might as well move it on.
What do you do? I drink. You know? A lot. No. Yeah, it's more fun to push that on. I get it. I'm down to a couple last 17 figures stupidly because you know, when I decided, oh, I'm gonna display all of my childhood figures. I didn't say, you know what, I should probably start with the most expensive and work backwards at the time because no, I want to pay quadruple what it was 4 years ago. That'd be great. So finding those for a fair price, that's part of the fun because you'll see them and you're like, I'm not paying $450 for that Ewok. No way. I'm like, it's an Ewok. No. It's not happening. So there's that like forced sense of delay that you just go, no. I'd rather buy.
Because with the last 17, you got the coin as well. So
yeah, I bought my first coin at Celebration because that's I'm glad you brought that up. That is something I had not broached, and one of the sellers had quite a few coins out, and I was like, "Hey, do you mind if I?" No, not at all. And so I was looking, and I'm like, so I got Han and Carbonite as my very first coin.
Well, they're probably just as expensive as the figures, are
they? He had the coin for 25 quid.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't bad. I was like, yeah, icing on the cake.
About $50 our money, isn't it?
Yeah. I found Leslie from Vectis Toys or Vectis Auctions. They had like a booth when they were previewing this ginormous carded Star Wars lot. Crazy. And I think it's live now. I haven't looked because I'm like, I'm not going to pay that. Yep. But they had some loose figures as well on the side. And I found Leslie, because she loves Yoda, I found her a green snake variant Yoda. It's like a green-gray snake.
Yeah, he had the orange and then
the orange and the tan, and then this one's like greenish-gray. And I'm like, I'll take that. That was my very first purchase of Celebration. And it was 70 quid. So, I mean, not horrible for a wacky Yoda variant. And he was complete, had his staff, had the little light. So I'm like, look what I bought you. Yay!
I'll just hold on to it for you. And
that's right. I'll just keep it downstairs anytime you want to come look at it.
That's right.
Was that to soften the blow of the other purchases later on? And
right, yeah, just to kind of grease the wheels.
Something. Smart man. Well, recently I completed the Clash of the Titans line. So of course, it wasn't a very big line. Unfortunately, I wish there was more to the Clash of the Titans. So now I found a guy on Instagram. He sells them on eBay, but he'll do customs. Like they never released a Bubo figure, so he's done a little custom, and you can actually stick it on Perseus's arm.
Nice.
So, and then he's made so coming out shortly is a rock. So where Andromeda was chained to the rock, and so he's made this rock with some chains. So
I don't remember that scene at all where Andromeda was chained to the rock.
Get it down, man. I love looking at that Kraken.
Oh, sorry. No.
What? Huh?
What were you talking about? We were dreaming about Andromeda. That's too big. That's too big.
Come on.
The Kraken?
You can get it down.
Oh, the Kraken. So good.
Kraken. All right. Well, you talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. Don't. I would love to find a Kraken. Yep. I have a burgeoning collection of those. I found Pegasus a few months ago. A nice white one. But my Calibus doesn't have a tail.
It's the common, isn't it? It's broken off. Yeah. I think even with these Krakens, because the tail's separate. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of them missing and things like that. And Matt was lucky to get a mint one.
Well, yeah,
there he is.
There he is. I'll just take his tail off for a second. However, yeah, there he is. Oh. And I was so lucky to find this in Australia as well, because just I was looking at one from overseas, and obviously quite expensive to get it from overseas, but I was ready to pull the pin. And I just thought I'll do one more search on eBay And there he was down in Sydney. So I thought, I've got a good price. It was his childhood Kraken. He'd barely played with it. So that's
I mean, the paint is the perfect shape.
It is.
Wow.
Like, it doesn't even look like it's been played with. And
no,
a lot of people think the arms are just made. They're on these like ball joints here, and they just wobble around.
Yeah.
They'd be easy broken, those ones, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
easily.
normally the tail is broken, but it's not in this. It just sort of slips on there, and yeah, it just wobbles.
Yeah, I didn't know that the tail was like more of just a shell of a tail, like a lobster tail.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a.
Yeah, exactly your Matt ate the flesh out. You see, it was whole, but he ate the flesh.
Kraken Thermidor, anyone?
Look at it. He's just like ripped. This dude. Look at the torso. Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah, he's putting us to shame, Matt.
Oh, he's out.
Like, you know, he's a 40-year-old toy. And he's got abs more than nothing. Like we.
Put some modeling clay gut on him.
Andromeda. Forget you, Perseus. I'm going with the Kraken.
Live on the sea with Kraken by. No, it's a pride and joy.
It's very similar to that creature we watched the other night, isn't it, Matt? What was the movie?
I've got already. Old man's disease.
Like what? Huh?
Movie. You're just making me think about toys and Kraken, so I'm just.
No, you know the Ray Harryhausen one we watched the other night.
Oh yeah, the Ymir. What was that? 20 million miles to Earth.
Yeah, and the creature in it had the same face. He's obviously reused
it. It was very similar, that face. Yeah, and in actual fact, yeah. So the Ymir looks a lot like him. I've actually got him up there as well. Like nice. But yeah, I think Harryhausen used the Ymir's model, and he chopped off the tail because it had quite a long tail. He chopped it off, and the next year he'd used it for the Cyclops in the seventh voyage of Sinbad. So there's no Ymir model that has survived over the years. But if you go to the Ray Harryhausen Museum, they'll have the Cyclops, which was really originally the Ymir from 20 million miles to Earth. Anyway, I love my Harryhausen. I'm a bit of a nerd.
Yeah, we still watch the films together. We get on PlayStation and over the internet. And
we stream it simulcast.
Yeah, we watch it together. Like Matt's up the coast. He's about 2 hours away from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we watch something on YouTube, we just go do a countdown, and then we sync it together, and we can talk and watch the film together.
That's cool. Are we going on 3 or we press 3, 2?
Yeah, you go 1, 2, 3 now. Yeah, and then we say, "Oh, I'm on 1 minute, whatever," and it syncs up. And
that's smart.
Yeah, so we watch all the old films, our old favorite films and things like that. And that's what
because just from that little tidbit, are you more apt? Because I'm this way. I don't get near as excited for brand new releases. I'm more like, there's so many good old movies that I've yet to see. Even silly, what a lot of people would say silly sci-fi from like 50s, 60s sci-fi. Like, I want to watch those movies.
Yes.
Well, we watched it. There was a channel, I forget what the channel was called, but he had over 1,000 of those type of movies on there.
50s, 60s movies.
Yes, so from 50s, 60s to 70s. And he had 1,000 videos, and they were all just movies, one after the other.
Yeah.
And we're just going through going, oh, gosh, yeah.
That's the best. I mean, I balance it with like, hey, did you see the latest Mandalorian? I did. But I was watching UFO last night, and I'm on, episode 6, that kind of, or Doctor Who season 14, Tom Baker. That's, I bounce her. Oh, Battlestar Galactica. I think I will watch an episode before bed. That kind of
all the old stuff.
All the old
good. Yeah, more excited. We're watching the original 50s, 60s Twilight Zone at the moment too.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, with Rod Serling.
Really good writing.
And there's so many modern movies that they've taken the story from the Twilight Zone. It's just, you go, oh, hang on, didn't they do that? And you go, well, they've just robbed the story from.
And tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah.
And added a little bit. And we've got a new movie. People that can't act.
We just thought of it.
Original.
Yeah, the original Twilight Zone's just great.
It is so good. That's my folks were always and they still are always great about, hey, sit down and watch this. I know that you're 17 years old or 16 years old and you think you know everything. Sit down and watch The Twilight Zone or watch this James Bond that's not the new James, not Roger Moore. Like, check out Sean Connery, James Bond, and so that hooked me early and often. And we still do it. They're like, hey, if you want to come over, we'll order a pizza. We trapped a movie on TCM, Turner Classic Movies, and we think you'd like it. Plus, if it's like black and white or whatever, I'm like, oh, I'm in. Yeah, and even our kid, we've done the same.
Well, we found that with the Twilight Zone series, it's scarier in black and white.
Totally.
Yeah, because they have on Amazon Prime, they have the newer series that are in color.
Right.
It just not the same. Not the same. You don't get the same eeriness you do out of black and white. It's amazing, isn't it?
What's the Puma Man movie? Is that a joke? Or
I don't know that one.
Is it for real?
Man.
Is that
like an old 50s movie? Or
is that like Cocaine Bear? I don't know.
No, but like my mum and dad were the same, Scuba. They would show me, and that's how I got introduced to Godzilla and Gamera. And they just allowed me to, like, they were on very late nights, so you'd have to go to bed. And then, wake me up, mum and dad, at midnight, and I want to watch Godzilla. So, Godzilla versus Smog Monster. Come on, Matt, wake up, get up. Nice. So you'd be sitting there, and, like, I remember my first monster movie was mum taking me to, we've got a cinema, I think it's the Ritz at Parramatta, Andrew. So I don't think it's there as a cinema anymore, but they took me to see Gamera. It was the very last Gamera movie, and at the World Fair, and I just that's where I fell in love with monster movies like the Kaijus, the Japanese stuff. I love it. So
that's cool.
Good old mum and dad.
Sunday mornings was Star Trek.
Yep.
And it was like they would run a couple episodes, and it was always right before church. And so Mom's like, "Come on, you guys," and be like, "But
it's Star Trek.
We're in the middle of it." And she's like, "We got to be like, oh man."
And it's not like you just say, "I'll just record that,"
Oh, now you just pause it and watch it later.
Yeah.
No, thank the mum and dad. Like, I think it's more mum. Mum was more the movie person. Got me movie books. I just love movies, all the old stuff. So it was just. I remember you talking about the 10 Commandments earlier. And Mum, I loved John Wayne as a kid, and he was in The Greatest Story Ever Told. Yeah, he was right at the very end, and I sat through this long, boring 3-hour movie waiting for John. When's John Wayne? Wait, he's right at the end, and literally the last scene. And there's no.
Does he kick ass in the last scene? Does he?
Yeah, you don't even see his face. I think it's a shadow. He's a centurion on a hill in the shadows, going, and he truly was the greatest of all men, or something. I'm like,
you're like. Seriously? And
I hate that movie.
so he wasn't a centurion with a lever action rifle or anything like that.
You're dead. I reckon you could do a great Duke imitation, Scuba. Have you ever tried? John Wayne voice?
No,
You've got a lovely deep voice like John Wayne.
I usually just do my my horrible Scooby Doo. Rod Rain. Like wow. Sorry, I shouldn't be doing Scooby. And I'm a little snotty. We came home to literally the whole world blooming, and it's spring.
Spring has sprung over there.
Yep.
Yeah. See, all nasally.
It's like holy moly.
Sure, I think we might just have to. I think we could probably go on for another half an hour, but I think an hour and a half's been a good chat.
I've got
a sore mouth. I've been laughing.
I know. I did. Smiling. We will do this again.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
I know it's taken a while to get it happening. And I was chatting to Muzzy yesterday, and he was saying, I think you're the first guys to have Scuba and Leslie back, like since you've come back from I've gone about like celebrations. You're the first to talk to them. And I went, oh, really? And they're like, yeah. So get some info, some goss. And I'm like, oh,
so, yeah. Get the down low on celebration.
Still high on it.
Expensive beers too. They're like
really?
$8 for a beer, and I mean we're from the States, so we're used to the NFL and NBA taking the piss out of us, and so. But it was funny to see English brethren like, this is ridiculous. Like, it should be like $2-3, and we're like, yeah, this is what we deal with at every sporting event in America.
Yeah, even Australia's like that, isn't it, Matt? Yeah,
same as Australia.
Yeah, you're like, this Bud Light's how much? I'm like, it's Bud Light. It's not that good. $12.
That's right. Well, thank you very much, Scuba, for popping on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, 100%. Like, I thank you very much for the chat. It's everyone popping in, Leslie in there, and I can see everyone. I'm not going to name everybody, but thank you very much for popping in, everybody.
Thank you.
It's been a who's who in the chat.
There has been, yeah. Well, we know it's because of you, Scuba. It's the guest.
No, you guys rock.
No, you rock. You rock.
Yeah.
We only get 1 or 2 people on when we have a live stream, don't we, Matt? And they go, oh, shit, wrong channel.
Wrong channel.
Sorry, it was the wrong channel. It was after this.
We're going to watch Chasing 80s Toys. Dear, thanks. Oh dear,
classic.
All righty, thank you once again, everybody, for that.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. All right, we'll catch you next time, guys. Thanks again, Scuba. Thanks again, Leslie, for allowing him to do this with us. See you next time.
See you,
everybody.
It takes a while because